Some dreams don't begin with applause or bold declarations. They begin quietly, in small spaces, with steady hands and a belief that feels fragile at first. Kijiro's dream is one of those dreams. From the outside, his days look simple, even repetitive. But inside a modest workshop, filled with the scent of wood and lacquer, every moment carries purpose. Kijiro dreams of becoming a true mask-making artisan, not for recognition alone, but for the quiet pride that comes from mastering something meaningful. Every morning, he arrives before the workshop fully wakes up. He cleans his tools carefully, not out of habit, but out of respect. His master, Jinguji, values discipline as much as skill. Jinguji is known for being strict, but never careless. He watches closely, corrects patiently, and expects focus at all times. Under his guidance, Kijiro learns that craftsmanship is not about talent alone, but about showing up consistently, even on days when confidence feels distant. Kijiro works with complete dedication. His hands move with care, shaping each mask slowly, paying attention to the smallest details. Yet no matter how much effort he puts in, the results never fully satisfy him. These imperfections might go unnoticed by others, but to Kijiro, they stand out clearly. Over time, this gap between effort and expectation begins to wear on him. Discouragement doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds quietly, in moments of silence after long hours of work. Jinguji notices this struggle, even when Kijiro tries to hide it. Years of teaching have taught him that doubt is often part of growth. Still, he does not lower his standards or soften his lessons. Instead, he continues guiding Kijiro with the same steady approach. To him, consistency is a form of trust. He believes that if Kijiro keeps working, understanding will follow. Natsumi sees another side of Kijiro. She notices the tired pauses, the thoughtful silence, the way his mind stays with unfinished work even during quiet moments. Rather than press him with questions, she offers gentle encouragement. She reminds him that learning takes time and that effort, even when unseen, still matters. Her support is calm and steady, never demanding. She believes in him not because of what he has achieved, but because of the dedication she sees every day. Kijiro continues his routine. He learns to accept correction without frustration and repetition without resentment, even when progress feels slow. But he keeps working, driven by the hope that persistence will eventually lead him closer to the artisan he wants to become. When doubt quietly slows Kijiro, Natsumi offers steady reassurance. Jinguji recognizes the true challenge, not skill, but protecting belief, patience, and the will to keep learning. Rather than addressing Kijiro directly, Jinguji approaches Natsumi. He understands that motivation does not always come from instruction. Sometimes it comes from connection. He speaks honestly about the difficulty of the path Kijiro has chosen and the importance of emotional support during uncertain periods. His intention is not to shift responsibility, but to strengthen the foundation around Kijiro. Natsumi listens carefully. She already carries much of this understanding, but hearing it affirmed by Jinguji reinforces her resolve. She becomes more attentive to the moments when Kijiro needs quiet reassurance rather than advice. She celebrates effort instead of outcomes and reminds him that inconsistency is part of learning, not a sign of inadequacy. With guidance and belief, Kijiro no longer carries doubt alone. Progress stays slow, but shared support restores patience, strengthens resolve, and keeps his dream alive through steady determination. This level of immersion, however, comes with a quiet cost. Kijiro becomes so absorbed in his work that the world beyond the workshop begins to feel distant. Natsumi notices the change, and she understands that. Yet she does not let frustration guide her response. She reminds herself that meaningful goals often demand seasons of intense focus. Instead of pulling him away from his work, she chooses to stand beside it. Her support becomes quieter, but no less powerful. She adjusts her expectations, understanding that love sometimes means giving space rather than seeking attention. She believes in the purpose behind Kijiro's dedication, even when the path feels lonely. This choice is not easy, but it is intentional. Natsumi understands that perseverance is rarely a solo effort, even when it looks that way from the outside. As the years move forward, Kijiro's dedication deepens. His days become longer, his focus sharper, and his connection to the craft more intimate. The workshop is no longer just a place of training. It becomes a space where time seems to slow down. Jinguji continues to observe with careful restraint. He sees Kijiro's growth not only in technique, but in temperament. There is more patience now, more willingness to pause and reflect. Mistakes no longer lead to visible frustration. Instead, they invite reconsideration. This emotional maturity becomes just as important as technical skill. After years of relentless effort, Kijiro finally created the most complete mask of his career. That moment moved Natsumi deeply. She sees years of patience reflected in a single object. Her reaction is quiet, but deeply felt. She understands that this moment represents far more than a finished piece. By choosing to support rather than resist the process, Natsumi helps transform effort into achievement. Finally, Kijiro was recognized as a mask-making artisan, and the dream they had both cherished for so long came true. For Natsumi, she sees not just the finished mask, but the journey behind it, the long hours, the uncertainty, the quiet sacrifices that were never spoken aloud. There is no need for words. The meaning of the moment is shared through understanding rather than celebration. What matters is not recognition itself, but the fulfillment that comes from knowing the dream they carried together has become real. Success is rarely immediate, and it is seldom achieved alone. It is shaped by perseverance, guided by mentorship, and sustained by those who choose to believe during moments of doubt. When effort is paired with patience and understanding, progress becomes not only possible, but lasting. Kijiro's journey reminds us that meaningful achievements often arrive quietly. They are built day by day, through commitment rather than urgency. And when they finally take shape, they reflect not just skill, but the strength of the support that made them possible. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. And if you enjoy thoughtful storytelling like this, feel free to like the video or subscribe for more.